You've seen the fan art everywhere. Henry Cavill as Cyclops. It's literally the biggest fan cast on the internet right now. Every Marvel channel is pushing this idea. It's already confirmed. The comments are flooded with "Make it happen, Marvel!" And it is dead wrong. That is not the plan. While other channels farm clicks with wishful thinking and fake rumors, CinerixHQ is here to break down the actual facts. Because everyone is looking at the wrong actors, focusing on the wrong strategy, and completely missing what Marvel is really doing. Here's what they don't want you to know. Kevin Feige has never broken his casting rules, not once in 15 years. And the Henry Cavill theory violates every single one of them. The real plan? It's not what you think. And we're about to prove exactly why the Cavill fan cast isn't just wrong, it's the opposite of everything Marvel has ever done. Here's the truth that no one else is telling you. Marvel is not casting a 40-year-old superstar as Cyclops. They're not doing a stunt cast. They're not going for fan service. The CinerixHQ thesis, backed by hard evidence, is this. Marvel is running the exact same playbook they used for Spider-Man. The real definitive plan is to cast a foundational, long-term Scott Summers in his 20s who can lead the X-Men for the next 15 years. This represents the core conflict in how people think about Marvel casting: franchise building versus fan service. Fan service gives you what you want right now. Franchise building gives you something that lasts a decade. The Henry Cavill fan cast represents a catastrophic misunderstanding of how Kevin Feige actually operates. It's fan service thinking applied to a franchise building decision. The proof isn't in fan art or wishful thinking. It's in Marvel's contract, their financial strategy, their narrative requirements, and their own unbreakable casting doctrine that they've followed for 15 years straight. We're breaking it all down with receipts, facts, and the smoking gun evidence that kills this theory once and for all. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Marvel will never make this choice. Let's start by calling out the problem. There's a video called Cyclops 2026 with Henry Cavill and Margot Robbie that's been making rounds. 8 minutes and 36 seconds long. Sounds legit, right? Here are the receipts that prove it's pure clickbait. Receipt number 1. The title promises Margot Robbie content. She is not mentioned once in the entire video. Not once. That's a straight-up lie designed to get clicks. Receipt number 2. Henry Cavill gets mentioned exactly one time at the 6:10 mark as part of a 9-actor wish list. 30 seconds out of 8 minutes. That's it. This proves that the entire Henry Cavill as Cyclops narrative is built on literal lies and low-effort content farming. The common belief has zero foundation in actual reporting or analysis. This is exactly why channels like ours exist, to cut through the noise with actual evidence-based breakdowns. Now, let's talk money, because that's what actually drives these decisions in Hollywood. Henry Cavill is an A-list star. His current fee is somewhere between $15 and $20 million per picture. That's Superman money. That's Witcher money. That's what you pay for a proven box office draw. But here's the problem. Scott Summers isn't a one-movie deal. This role requires a 7 to 9 appearance contract spanning 10 years minimum. We're talking 3 X-Men films, 2 Avengers movies, plus Disney Plus content. Do the math with me. $20 million per appearance times 7 appearances equals $140 million. Just for one character, who isn't even the main draw of the franchise. Kevin Feige is a brilliant businessman. He didn't build a $30 billion franchise by making financially catastrophic decisions. The math alone proves this fan cast is dead on arrival. Marvel's entire business model is built on cost-effective casting that allows them to spend money on production value, not actor salaries. Here's where we get to this smoking gun evidence. Marvel has a casting doctrine that they have never broken, not once in 15 years across 30-plus major character introductions. The rule is simple. Marvel does not stunt cast its core, foundational heroes. Look at Phase 1. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't a stunt cast. He was a risk, a comeback story that nobody wanted to take. Chris Hemsworth was literally unknown. Chris Evans was doing indie films and Fantastic Four movies that nobody remembers. But the real proof is in what I call the Tom Holland playbook. When Marvel needed to recast their most important character, Spider-Man, what did they do? They cast the 19-year-old unknown from a casting call. Tom Holland wasn't famous. He wasn't expensive. He was young, talented, and ready to commit to a decade-long journey. Then they did it again with Iman Vellani for Ms. Marvel. Literally found her through social media. Simu Liu was doing stock photos before Shang-Chi. Haley Steinfeld was the biggest name they cast for the Young Avengers, and even she was primarily known for indie work. The pattern is 100% consistent across 15 years and 30-plus castings. They cast young, they build legacies, they create stars instead of hiring them. Scott Summers will be the Tom Holland of the X-Men, not a 40-year-old cameo appearance. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. But let's say Marvel ignored their own rules and cast Cavill anyway. There's an even bigger problem. It would completely ruin the character. Scott Summers' entire story is about growth. He starts as this repressed, uncertain Boy Scout who's afraid of his own power and doubts his leadership abilities. Through trials, failures, and hard-won experience, he becomes the general of mutant kind. That transformation is the arc. That's what makes him interesting. Casting a 41-year-old man who looks like Superman skips the entire character journey. You get a fully formed hero from day one, which is boring. There's nowhere to go, no growth to show, no stakes to his development. The Fox films already made this exact mistake. They cast adult versions of the X-Men and then sidelined Scott for Wolverine because they had nothing interesting to do with him. He was just there, being competent and bland. The MCU fixes this by casting young. A 25-year-old Scott allows them to tell the real story, create the real rivalry with an older Wolverine, and finally do the character justice after decades of movie disappointment. Character development requires room to grow. Cavill has no room to grow. The casting choice would kill the character before he even appears. Our thesis proves something bigger than just Scott Summers casting. If Marvel is going young with Scott, they're going young with everyone. Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Iceman, the entire core team will be cast in their 20s. This isn't a let's fix a character situation. This is a complete hard reboot of the X-Men concept. Marvel isn't casting for Secret Wars in 2027. They're casting for what I'm calling the 2035 saga. This is a generational pivot designed to run for 15 years minimum. Think about it. By 2035, the current MCU heroes will be aging out or moving on. Tom Holland will be in his late 30s. The Avengers as we know them will be legacy characters. The X-Men are being positioned as the next generation of the MCU, the new foundation. That requires actors who can carry that weight for a decade and a half. This is the biggest franchise pivot since Iron Man launched the MCU, and it all starts with casting the right Scott Summers. Here's the real headline that everyone's missing. You don't give a 10-year Tom Holland contract to a side character. This proves that Cyclops, not Wolverine, will be the center of the X-Men franchise. He's going to be the Captain America of mutants, the moral center, the strategic leader, the guy who holds the team together. Wolverine will be the Hulk, the chaotic, emotional wild card who challenges Scott's authority and creates internal conflict. That's a way more compelling dynamic than Wolverine does everything while Cyclops stands around. But here's the crucial part. This dynamic only works if there's an age difference. Logan needs to be the grizzled veteran who doesn't respect Scott's authority. Scott needs to be the young leader trying to prove himself.
Cast a 40-year-old Cyclops opposite a 35-year-old Wolverine, and you lose that entire relationship. The ages need to work for the characters to work. Marvel understands this. They're not just casting individual characters, they're casting relationships, dynamics, and long-term story potential.
So if Marvel isn't spending $20 million on Cyclops, where does that A-list money go? Villains and one-off characters. Look at the pattern. Kurt Russell as Ego, Christian Bale as Gore, Tony Leung as the Mandarin, Kate Blanchett as Hela. These are the stunt casts. These are where Marvel spends the big money. This is actually where Henry Cavill could fit into the MCU. As Doctor Doom, as Mr. Sinister, as Sabretooth, as any number of major villains who don't need decade-long contracts. But there's another factor here, the international market. Young, fresh faces play better globally than established American stars. Marvel needs their X-Men to work in China, Korea, and other major markets where Henry Cavill doesn't have the same recognition. A breakout star with the right look and acting ability will outperform a known quantity every time in those markets. Marvel's global strategy supports casting unknown talent over expensive stars. The Cinerix doctrine is clear. Cast around your young core, not in place of it. Based on everything we know, here's how this actually plays out. 2026, first X-Men movie announcement with the young cast reveal. 2027, X-Men film release alongside Secret Wars. 2028 to 2030, solo films for key characters including Cyclops. 2031, X-Men sequel with the team fully established. 2033 to 2035, integration into the next major MCU saga. That's a 10-year plan built around actors who can grow with their characters, not a quick cash grab with expensive stars. The timeline alone proves that Marvel is thinking long-term, not short-term fan service. Here's the factor that nobody talks about but completely supports our thesis: Disney+. Marvel's streaming strategy requires actors who can anchor shows for multiple seasons over several years. A Cyclops solo series exploring his relationship with Jean, his rivalry with his brother Havoc, his struggles with leadership, that's premium streaming content. But it requires an actor who can commit to 5 seasons of television, not someone looking for a quick movie payday. Henry Cavill just spent 3 seasons proving he won't stick with the streaming commitment when he left The Witcher. Marvel needs reliability, not star power that comes with ego and scheduling conflicts. A young, hungry actor will give Marvel the flexibility they need for both movies and streaming. They can build storylines across multiple platforms without worrying about availability or budget constraints. The Disney Plus factor alone kills the Cavill theory. Marvel needs actors who will say yes to everything, not actors who pick and choose their projects. This streaming requirement is why the Tom Holland playbook is so effective. Holland has appeared in movies, animated projects, and is available for streaming content whenever Marvel needs him. That's the kind of commitment Marvel needs from their next generation of heroes, and that's exactly what they'll get with a young Scott Summers. While clickbait channels chase wishful thinking and farm views with fake casting rumors, the CinerixHQ breakdown proves that the facts point to a smarter, proven strategy. Marvel isn't casting for a moment, they're casting for a decade. The Henry Cavill-as-Cyclops story is dead, and now you have the evidence to prove why. The real question isn't whether they'll cast Cavill, it's who will be the breakout star that becomes the next Tom Holland. Who's that 25-year-old actor ready to commit 10 years of their life to becoming the leader of the X-Men? My money's on someone we haven't heard of yet. Someone hungry, talented, and ready to make Cyclops the hero he was always meant to be. But what do you think? Now that we know the strategy, who's your realistic pick for a young Scott Summers? Who could be that foundational actor ready to lead the X-Men into the next decade of Marvel movies? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you want more evidence-based breakdowns that cut through the clickbait noise, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching CinerixHQ, and remember, we deal in facts, not fan fiction.